beautiful Board of Directors, October 26, 2022. And I'm calling this meeting to order. May I have roll call, please?
Bear with me, people, I need my eyeballs on. Okay, Jean Delmares,
Present.
Myra Hernandez,
Absent and excused, from my understanding. She didn't call in.
Lenava present, Javier Alonso,
Present.
Graciela Villarreal, Joanna Villarreal,
Present.
Monica Cavazos,
Present.
Christina Cuellar,
Running late, from what I understand, so we will mark her absent until she shows present.
okay, Bianca Brewster, not here. I'm looking the wrong way, is she not here? Priscilla Pantoja,
Absent again. And
She's campaigning.
Bradley Johnson.
absent.
What about me? I'm here.
Who are
Okay.
you?
Okay,
Oh,
Nicolas Benavides.
Okay, I missed a meeting or two, but I'm here now.
No, you
No.
haven't missed one. You're
No,
good.
because you weren't voted in yet.
You
you are
just
now.
got approved. so
you
you're
just
good.
got approved, so you're a new member to the board. So for everyone who doesn't know, Nick Benavides is a lifetime rancher, conservationist, cleans all the creeks of the city of Laredo. That's just one of his things. And what else do you do, Nick? Oh, we have a big hunting operation. He participates in the birding festival.
Oh, geez.
I gotta beef him up a little bit.
I worked on the Riverbend project.
On the Riverbend
We did all
project.
the right way. We did it the right way. It was selective clearing. We did it. We were a subcontractor. The general contractor was Mike Merrick from Arizona, and that's all he does is wildlife projects and environmentally sensitive areas. And that was a really good project. I mean, right there by LC, down below on the riverbank. That was a good project. It was like 36 months. It was a good project.
Very cool.
And it took, how long did that take to get approved? That like, 10 years in making or longer?
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of federal money. The majority was all federal. That was an interesting project.
Very
Okay.
cool. Okay.
Now, we also have Priscilla,
Priscilla?
our Texas ambassador,
Hi,
youth
Priscilla.
ambassador. So Priscilla's here with us too. And will be for, how long, Priscilla, a year? Are you gonna be involved for a year with
yeah.
Keep Texas Beautiful?
With KTD, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we have the president of Keep Texas Beautiful.
Tony Arce.
Tony Allen. Kept on for another year, so congrats. One more year.
Yes. Congrats.
Okay, so then we have roll call set, so then I need approval of the minutes. Has everybody read the minutes for the previous meeting held in September? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I love to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Second, I have a motion and a second, discussion, any amendments, adjustments? Okay, motion and a second, do I have, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign, motion carries. All right, citizen communications, do we have anybody from the citizenry here to communicate to us today? Somebody's wanting in to comment. No, okay, so we'll close citizen comments, and now item number 5 is discussion of possible action on the following items. First item up is the ethics for the KLB board, presented by Mr. Arredondo. Mr. Arredondo, welcome.
Thank you. So I am here today to talk to you all about everyone's favorite subject, ethics. And so kind of the purpose of this training is to just kind of give you all the general overview so that if you come across some of these issues, you could recognize them and then, decide if there's action that needs to be taken or something like that. So the goal of our ethics ordinance for the city is to increase transparency and ensure integrity of our local government. And so if you want to access the actual ethics ordinance, it's online. If you go to the City of Laredo website, there's a government tab. If you hover over that, and it says ethics resources. So this is all going to be, everything I'm discussing is going to be available online. So who does the city's ethics ordinance apply to? And it's kind of three general categories: public officials, employees, and every person who attempts to influence public action. And so as a board, we actually fall under city employees, because the definition of employees in the ethics ordinance includes anybody who's on a committee, commission, a board. So that's why, that would apply to us here today. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of highlight some of the, probably the most, the ones that are going to come up the most for you all. There's a lot of other stuff in there about lobbying and things like that probably aren't going to apply. But if you are interested, it's all available for your fun reading. So let's go first to section 2.01. It's conflicts of interest. And so the general rule is that to avoid the appearance even or the risk of impropriety, an official or employee shall not take any action that he or she knows is likely to affect economic interest, their economic interest. And so basically, if you're taking an action that has an impact on you or certain other people, your parents, your spouses, siblings, clients, there's a whole list of people. It's not just you, it's, kind of your circle of people. If you're taking an action that has an impact on them that's going to be different from the general public, then that might present a conflict of interest for you. So if that situation does arise, what do you do? Well, the ethics ordinance provides you can recuse yourself from any of the discussion or action on that topic. You can report it also to the independent auditor with the city, and you can inform your board members, look, this is something that may present a conflict of interest for me, so I'm going to, recuse myself. And that would be, that'd take care of it. It's pretty simple. The big issue with conflicts of interest is just identifying them before you take action. Because then once you take action and stuff, it's like, well, this person acted in the interest of someone else. And so if you can catch it on the front end, it's a lot easier to just recuse yourself, and then that pretty much takes care of it.
Counselor, so on recusals and abstentions, if I remember correctly, I was on council. If I abstained from a vote, I had to explain why I was abstaining. I wasn't allowed just to walk away from an item unless I had a particular conflict, and at that point I would disclose the conflict, fill out a form, submit that to the secretary, and they would add it to the record that I abstained from the vote and abstained from any discussion. Does that still apply for us as well here? Again, the idea is that everyone would vote unless they had a conflict.
Right. I'm not sure if that would be more of a city charter issue because it was a council item. I'm not sure that would apply here. I know that as far as the ethics ordinance, there's nothing that's going to require you to cast a vote, but I think that may have come from the charter, so I don't think that would apply here. I can get you a definitive answer on that, but my inclination is that it's probably not going to apply here.
So then the second question I have for you is, because this is currently occurring, my company is actually donating something to the board, to the organization. We're donating a new logo and a new website to them. But there is no exchange. It's just a donation on our behalf. Is that something that I would have to recuse myself on, or does that matter at that point, since it's not coming this way, it's going this way?
Right. I think the concern would be more any payment that you would be receiving from the board, since you have, a vote here. So I think the other way is probably fine.
No, you're right. You can't get paid for something because that's what creates the conflict, the actual payment.
Right.
Okay, but initially, before I was on the board, when I donated the website, when Vasita was still here, this was all kind of pre-COVID, and everything just kind of fell apart after that. I did receive a letter, a 501c3 donation letter. Right, does that still apply? Because that's a...
Yes,
that
it
has-
does still apply. You receive anything you contribute, you should receive a thank you note with the 501c3.
But in kind. It's an
Right,
in-kind.
it's
It's an in-kind
yeah, it's a
contribution.
donation, and then in there, it tells you what the 501c3 is, how much of the donation that you can take, and it's that little clause that everybody puts in. The deduction is the amount that you are donating as per what it actually
Value.
value is. So if it's a dinner, it's $25, then it's you get $25. But say, you donate the dinner and then you, I don't know, ask for $5 because of the printing of the ticket, well then in that case, it wouldn't be that way.
In this case, it's
Creates it.
all we're doing is making the contribution in kind to both the logo and the website, and there's nothing coming back to us, other than a letter saying thank you. But again, because there's a tax benefit, that's what I was concerned with, because there's a tax benefit to us for making that donation.
I don't think that would present an issue. Just the way it's structured out, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Always careful.
Okay, so we've got conflict of interest. So we've kind of gone over that. The other thing that we need to look out for is in section 2.02 is the unfair advancement of private interests. And so generally you can't use your position on this board to, advance or impede any of your interests. So you give an example, you have a coffee shop. If someone comes to Keep Laredo Beautiful and wants to start some program or get funding for a coffee shop or something, you can't, attempt to block it based on your position because that helps your coffee shop, right? And so you also cannot acquire an interest in some impending matter. So if you all have something in the works, a big contract or someone, you can't, go buy the property next to it or something to gain the benefit of it that way. Reciprocal favors, another thing that we can't agree to, and appointment or supervision of relatives. That's not really going to apply here, but it's in there. So another one is the next section. Section 2.03 is gifts. So generally, cannot receive gifts. However, there are multiple exceptions to this one, and so it's going to be really fact specific. For example, one of the big ones is like if it's under $250, that's pretty much considered a de minimis gift under our ethics ordinance. Also, if you have like a previous relationship with this donor or somebody, then that's another thing to consider. If someone attends my wedding, but I'm also a Keep Laredo Beautiful board member, and they give me a wedding gift, does that count? And there's certain things in our ethics ordinance that will address that. If you have a prior relationship with this person, how much is the wedding gift, things like that. So gifts, just, be aware, under $250 you're probably fine. If you're getting a large gift or something like that, make sure that you I don't know if you want to report that to the ethics compliance officer, which would be the city attorney's office, or just look at the ethics ordinance and determine if you can see for yourself, does this fall within one of those exceptions we were talking about? Section 2.04 is regarding confidential information. It kind of ties into the unfair advancement of private interest deal, where if you receive some sort of confidential information that's not available to the public yet, you can't go and use that for your benefit, because that's using information that you would not otherwise have. You're using your position in order to advance your interests. Section 2.06 is regarding public property and resources. So Keep Laredo Beautiful we can't use city resources or staff for private interests, and that's just it would be considered a donation of value by the city to a private interest, and that's actually prohibited by the Texas Constitution. So that's why we can't do that.
Councilor, point of order, just let the record reflect that both Ms. Quayad and Ms. Gaviat have arrived, and so.
Sorry guys, I'm late. I apologize for that.
No worries.
Section 2.07 regarding political activity. We cannot accept anything of value for political activity for any items related on a ballot that this board has dealt with, right? And so if there's some sort of, if there's something on a ballot that we have worked on, we pretty much should not be receiving anything in exchange for that. One of the other catch-all kind of provisions that's in here is the actions of others. So anything that we would be prohibited from doing as a board, we can't have someone else go and do on our behalf, because that's, the easiest end around to the ethics ordinance that you can have. So if you're influencing someone to do that, then that would be treated as the same, treated as you're doing that, so that would apply to you. Section 2.09 is kind of a big one as well. It's the prohibited interest in contracts. And so generally, you cannot have a direct or indirect financial interest in a contract with the city. However, this is another one where it's like the gift deal, where there are kind of a lot of exceptions. So like anything that went out for bids, that's actually, if you're coming as a low bidder, that's fine. If you're a sole source provider, that's also another exception. So this is again going to be one of those really fact-specific ones where if you do have a contract with the city, odds are if you have a contract with the city, we've already reviewed it a couple of times and we've determined that it's okay. But just for future stuff, or if you're not sure, you can go ahead and look and check out all the exceptions that are in there, because there are some. Okay, and so reporting violations of the ethics ordinance. Persons who become aware of a violation of the ordinance, if you're covered by the ethics ordinance, you're required to report the violation of this to the ethics compliance officer within 5 days. And so if you look on there, it has kind of specific information that needs to be on it, but if you just get in touch with the city attorney's office and want to report an ethics violation or perceived ethics violation, then we will assist you in getting all the information that we need or that needs to be included on that report. And so that's pretty much the main sections that are going to apply. There are more, but they probably won't come up. One other thing to remember is that these not only apply to current board members, but there's certain sections that apply for a period after your service on the board. So if you leave and then you have, I think there's some sections that's 1 year, some sections that is 2 year, where you can't represent people in front of the board. You could not receive a contract from the board. Just things of that nature. So just be aware that even once you're done, you're not completely off the hook yet. There's still a little period of time where you may be prohibited from engaging with the city in certain ways. And so that, I think, concludes my presentation.
What are the penalties for violation of the ethics ordinance?
The penalties, well, first of all, you're going to have to go through an ethics hearing. And so you go through, that whole process is laid out in the ordinance. You're going to have to appear before the ethics commission. The city attorney will be there presenting facts as well. You'll be able to call witnesses and things like that. And then it kind of depends on which section you violated. You may be, barred from doing business with the city. And there's other various penalties that could apply.
I have two things if you can help me with.
Sure.
Can you just go over real quick Robert's Rules of Order with the board as well? Just the main important stuff, speaking, taking turns and all of that. And then another question, what about board members that are running for office? I do have, it's different for different stuff. They're not running for city council, but I do have 2 board members that are currently running for LC board, I believe it is. I just want to make sure that it's, is there any rules for them that we need to be aware of at the moment?
I think the ethics ordinance sort of mirrors, there are certain constitutional provisions in Texas where if you're running as a candidate for certain elected offices, you automatically resign your positions. But I'd have to check specifically which ones those would be before I can answer that.
Okay.
I can tell you that if you're running for an office and you serve on a city board and you're running for a city office, if it is a decision-making board, you must resign from that board. So they're spelled out in the charter, in the Ethics Commission, I think, as well. And they are the Planning and Zoning Commission, Board of Adjustments, Ethics Commission, where I was. There is a Housing and Civil Service Commission. I think those are the 5 that require you to leave the board, because those are either statutory bodies or they are decision-making bodies within the city.
Okay.
So the 2 civil service commissions, for example, they do rule on those items.
So if we were to have a UISD board member join our board, that would be totally okay?
Well,
Yes,
from what I gathered this 10 seconds, from what I remember from the Ethics Commission and our training, if it's not a city, if he's not involved in a city race where the city department or the city advisory board has charge over those items, then no, there's not an issue. But if he's running for a city office and there is a decision-making body that he's on, he would have to, that would not be possible. He couldn't join the board, or he would have to, if he's on the board, he'd have to leave.
Okay, good. 'Cause I have
And I'll give you
somebody
2
that's
examples
interested.
of
I have
that.
somebody that's interested.
I had to resign from my board because my board is a decision-making body. But Rick Laudette, for example, is on the Parks and Rec, and they are an advisory board. So he did not have to resign his position. Mr. Duenas also is on a advisory board meeting for EDAC, for the environment, the economic development, but he chose to resign because he didn't understand the ordinance, submitted his letter of resignation, and the council member accepted it. They voted him out, and then realized, hey, I didn't have to leave. He didn't check with legal beforehand.
Yeah.
But when you come into play you're a candidate until you're elected, isn't it? I mean, even as a candidate.
As soon as you file for campaign treasurer, not even for a position on the ballot, as soon as you put up a campaign treasurer, you now officially need to remove yourself from the board, if you're in one of the decision-making bodies.
Okay, thank you, sir.
If not mistaken, I think as soon as you start saying that you want to run for certain
As soon as you appoint a campaign treasurer, which is in essence that. Because you can't act as a candidate until you appoint the treasurer. You can't spend any money, you can't raise any money, you can't put out any signs, you can't do any of that. Some people kind of skirt that by putting the Jean Belmontes 2022 something out there. And again, that does not have a elected office that you're running for or anything, so people kind of circumvent that. But that is an expense, and a lot of people have been called with the state ethics complaints over those.
Well, I think we should also focus on, like over the weekend where Rick was speaking, and I know he was speaking on behalf of the Parks Board, but still doesn't look right. It doesn't look right, and people complain
We'll get
because of
get
their
into that,
things,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we'll get into that right now. Let's let
But if-
because that it's something we should speak about. But let's let Mr. Arredondo finish his presentation.
I just looked up the automatic resignation real quick, and it applies to the Historic Landmark Board,
Yes.
Planning and Zoning, Ethics Commission, and City Charter Review Commission, Civil Service Commission, Board of Adjustment.
There you go. I missed the historical landmark. Did I say hysterical or historical?
Totally hysterical.
Right, okay, and so then the last thing, Robert's Rules of Order, basically just, a tool to kind of keep things organized. So anything that's going to be discussed, it's got to be motion, second, and then discussion. If there is no second, then there is no discussion. The same thing to end an item, motion for any action or no action or whatever. And then, depending on what the motion is, a second and a vote. So that's kind of the basic structure of it, and the purpose is to just keep everything running smoothly. It can be hard, especially when there's a large board like this, to get everybody heard and things like that.
Two of the principal areas within the Robert's Rules of Order, all questions are directed at the chair, right? And the chair kind of disperses those as they go. So if you want to ask a question, it's, direct that at the chair. Sometimes what happens is they direct it at the executive director, or even on council, I see where they go straight to the city manager, but they should be directing the mayor. The person who's at the well, a citizen who's speaking, the council member might direct a question at him, but he actually should direct it to the mayor, and the individual at the well can answer the mayor when the mayor opens his mic and gives him the floor. So that's another way to control the tempo of the meeting. There's one other item on Robert's Rules of Order that I think everybody makes a mistake on. If we are in the middle of a discussion and it starts to get pretty heated and somebody feels like, okay, I've made my point, and you call for the question, that does not end discussion. At that point, there is a vote to end, the discussion, and then you can bring the item forward. You may have a motion, a second discussion. Somebody says, I'm tired of this, I call for the question. Well, all those in favor of bringing the vote forward, say aye. Those opposed, say sign. If it doesn't pass, then you can continue discussion. If it does pass at that point, you have enough people to close the discussion, then you take the vote on second. So, because no one member can end discussion. It has to be as a body.
Yeah, and that's all I have, unless there are any questions or.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
The next item is the consent agenda, which is the housekeeping. Ms. Ruby, do you have a consent agenda for us that you want to?
Yes, I believe it's in with your housekeeping
Housekeeping.
right here. This one.
Which one? I don't see a housekeeping.
You didn't get one,
I
Shane?
have minutes as my.
I have minutes. I have minutes. It says housekeeping on the edge of it, but
Yeah, it
it's
says
just
housekeeping on the
minutes.
top, but it's the minutes.
Oh, no, exactly, that's the August 3rd one that we're gonna go over.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you have this as housekeeping?
Yes, we put it as housekeeping.
Okay, tell me why you would call it a consent agenda. Typically, a consent agenda is an agenda of items that have been visited on by committees. Everybody pretty much concurs what's on there, so you just take a vote to adopt the agenda, right, as submitted. That's it. And everybody kind of consents to it because we've already discussed it either in committee or at some point, everyone has no objections to it. And if you'll see on council from time to time, people will pull things out of the consent agenda because there is not concurrence and they want to have discussion. So if it's just a housekeeping item, then when you bring it back to us, or when you just, I think we can go ahead and address it, but in the future, if you have a housekeeping item, you need to spell out what that item is, and why are we coming back to that particular item. So this is the housekeeping item you want to address. What in this particular item are we addressing?
We are addressing, Priscilla Pantoja's, emotions, since she had not, taken her oath yet.
Okay, so we need to come back and revisit the motions.
Yes.
Okay, so let's take it this way, just so that we know what we're going to be doing. There is a motion. I'll entertain a motion to revisit the minutes of the August 3rd meeting. Do I have a motion?
I move that we accept the minutes from the August
that we,
meeting. Yep, yes, with the correction.
So that we, the motion is to revisit the minutes.
Okay.
Right, so that we can go by item on the items that are being adjusted.
Oh, okay,
Because we're
okay.
gonna have to go back and vote on those items since she was the
Yes.
one who made the motion, so.
Okay, so
I have a motion to revisit the minutes
To
of August
revisit.
22nd, August 3rd, 2022. Do I have a second? Second? Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Right.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. So let's look at items in the minutes that need to be revisited. And Ms. Ruby, would you take the first one and let us know what that is?
Yes. The first one is a mission to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, which would be the July meeting.
The July meeting.
Okay, so we need to revisit that. Has everybody looked at those minutes from the July?
I do not hand out, sorry.
I don't know. Were there any adjustments to those minutes? As you-
No, I think we're still pretty.
No, I-
Pretty safe?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the July 7th meeting. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a motion, do I have a second? Second from Lynn. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Let the record reflect that that item has been amended solely on the basis of motions, right? Who made the motions? Okay, the next one is, even my own appointment. So we need to revisit the motion to appoint Jim Mattis as board president. All those, do I have a motion to approve my appointment as board president?
I move that we accept your appointment as board president.
And I have a second from Priscilla Villarreal.
Yeah, you could remove them now if you wanted.
From Priscilla Villarreal, sorry. But you couldn't remove me, because it's a good time to do me a favor.
That's what you're doing under housekeeping.
Put me in the cheap seat.
You're gonna get swept right out of the room.
You do too much.
I'm a Yankees fan, so I got swept this week already once. So
How dare you?
sorry. Just-
Should have known that.
I go back to the old days, when the evil empire actually was evil.
It's still evil.
This is the-
It's still evil.
All right, so a motion and a second to appoint Chief Gomez as board president. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Let the record reflect that that has been amended as well. The next item that appears to have need of amendment,
That's it.
That's it.
is that it? Okay, so motion to close this item and amend the minutes as reflected by the vote. Do I have a motion?
Yes, motion to close item.
And a second, Ms. Cuellar? And so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. House has been kept. Okay, so then the next item is a KOB logo change. And we were hoping to have a presentation, but because it's Wednesday, my designer is in class. And so he does have some things he wanted to show, but we'll leave it for the next meeting if we can table the item, time certain for the next meeting. Do I have a motion to table the item for next meeting?
I move that we table the item for the next.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Ms. Cuellar. And all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll table it for next meeting. All right. Finance Committee report. Do we have a report from the Finance Committee?
Appointments.
Oh, we're doing appointments to the Finance Committee.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So this is appointments to the Finance Committee. Do I have any volunteers first that want to serve on the Finance Committee? Now, what are the roles and responsibilities of the Finance Committee? As we kind of
We
talked
had
about.
mentioned sponsorships.
To help with sponsorships, to help
Keep
doing
track.
project budgets, right? So that we can kind of have an idea of what these things are going to cost us.
Yes.
And we did have some volunteers early on.
We did.
Ms. Cuellar, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
one of them, he left the board. Goya,
Okay. I think these were born out of the July 17th, right?
yeah, the ones that were interested, Jean, was Monica, Christina, Lynn, and Bianca's what we have.
Okay, Monica, Christina, Bianca, and Lynn. You know, the guy that I think would be perfect for this, our U.S. board member, because he knows everybody.
Okay, where you are?
So I
I
would
gotta get
ask,
sworn in first so we don't run into the same fiasco we just ran into.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you have
So
to-
that's why I'm not
it's just
voting
a-
on anything. I'm
Yeah.
ahead of
oh,
you
you haven't been
guys.
sworn in? I thought you were already approved.
No.
No.
He's
He's
No.
approved.
But
He
not
just
before we
hasn't
got
taken
into
his
city
oath
hall.
there.
Yeah.
Must be sworn in and take his oath.
Then I have to send it to my attorney, make sure there's no conflict of interest and make sure.
He's using that.
We can get the Reverend to swear you in the next one.
Well, next time I see you at Lala.
Okay.
I'm just picking up.
So for now, the committee stands at Cristina, Monica, Bianca, and Lynn, and we hope to add Mr. Benavides once he is sworn in.
Thanks, Director.
Yes, ma'am?
Actually, Bianca, where does she stand on absences? I think it's her second one.
Yes.
It's her second one? So she's still good?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many absences?
She's got two.
Three in a row.
Would you draft her just a quick note saying, you know, Ms. Brewster, you missed a couple meetings, you know, we need to make sure that you stay on track. And then just sign it from us, but you can send it, just sign it from Myra and I. That way, again, as a buffer to keep.
Can it get approved absences?
Yes.
Yes.
You can. You just,
You can.
as long as you call in and give your reason.
Because I sit on several.
And we are still doing hybrids,
Yeah,
right?
just
That people
testing.
can call in and participate, as
Yeah.
long as we have a forum.
Oh, we're still waiting on
On the,
the bylaws to get approved.
okay,
Okay,
so right now it stands at that, but then we do have that one pending.
Okay,
issue.
so did we make a motion to appoint to the finance committee, or are we making a
I
motion
think these
to?
folks were already on there, they'd already kind of
Yes.
volunteered, the only person we're missing is adding, we need to clarify Bianca Brewster's status, and now adding Mr. Benavides once he gets sworn in. So for the moment, we will leave the committee as structured, so
Okay.
it's Ms. Cuellar, Ms. Brewster, Monica, and Lynn, and soon to be Nick, but not yet. bridesmaid, not a bride. Sorry. Look at the bouquet.
We love getting married.
Jesus.
Okay, and so the next item we have is changing the awards committee to the planning committee.
Do we approve this? Are we all set for them to be the committee, or are we gonna table it?
My understanding is they're already on the committee. I mean, I think we volunteered, we took action. You might look at the July 7th meeting, I think is where that comes in.
No, it's on our last one.
It's
No,
on
we
our
said
last-
we were gonna bring it because it was just on,
Oh, is the discussion?
it was just a, non-action item, so we gotta take action on it.
Okay.
To actually create the committee.
To actually create the committee.
Okay.
Yes.
So I currently have 4 volunteers that are on the committee. Monica, Bianca, Stina, and Lynn. So I'll entertain a motion to accept those 4 nominees into the finance committee. All those for that? Motion? Do you have a motion to accept those 4? Graciela? And the second? John, the second. And so now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion carries. So then we have a finance committee that consists of those folks. Aye. And Nick, as soon as we get sworn in, we'll bring you back to them.
We'll see Mr. Valdez.
We'll make you walk the hot coals before you get on. Okay, so the next item is changing the awards committee to the planning committee. Ms. Ruby, would you like to tell us what
So
the
we
thought
had
process
our,
was?
yeah, we had our awards ceremony, which went well, thank you, everybody. And we had a pretty good team in planning this. I believe we should switch them to just be, for it to be a planning committee, since we do have a lot of events, and it's good to have different inputs when it comes to setting up events, especially like the ones we have coming up. So we can just change it from awards committee to a planning committee.
So you're asking the body to appoint a permanent events planning committee
Correct.
rather than having an awards committee, which is kind of ad hoc when we
Yeah.
have an awards committee? Okay, so first and foremost, then let me entertain a motion to establish a permanent events planning committee.
I would like to be part of that.
Motion. So I have a motion, second. From Christina, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Now, who is currently on the awards committee that we are going to nominate to the events planning committee?
So we have Priscilla Pantoja,
Okay,
Lynn Nava,
okay,
Graciela Villarreal,
okay.
and Javier Alonso.
So with
Oh,
Priscilla,
wait, am I missing something? You know.
But you, like,
Oh,
you're
and
the
Julia.
I think
And
we're-
Diane was there.
Oh, and Diane was there too, but Diane
She's
is-
not a, I
she's
know.
not official yet. So
She's not official yet.
We'll
Okay.
add her later.
So then what we want to do is, I currently, I'll entertain a motion to nominate Graciela, Javier, Cruz,
Monica.
Monica.
No, not Monica, Lynn.
Lynn.
Sorry, I was thinking.
And
of-
Lynn to the event planning committee,
Yes.
okay? For now. So, we have a motion, second? You can say it. You can go for yourself. Motion, second by Graciela, so I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign, motion carried. Now, with the committee, we still have, I'd like for the folks who are also on that committee, Priscilla and Diana, when she's comes on board, to, at that point, accept the nomination. Right, we'll bring that back to add
Yeah.
nominations to the
Yeah,
planning
because
committee.
we'll have to do that with the planning and then with,
Do you want him to be part of that committee as well,
the
Christina?
planning.
For the planning?
The planning.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a nomination for Christina to be on the planning committee. Well, Diana, since she's not official yet, I can't appoint her just yet. So we'll take Christina now, All those in favor of adding her to the event plan committee? All those opposed? Same time, carries. We're good. Okay. Staff reports, non-action items. It's your show, Rudy. Every time you shine.
So I've been so busy. Forgive me if I miss something, because I'm gonna guarantee I probably did miss a few things. And let's start off with looking at our October calendar. Sorry, I know we have it in order, but I like to base ourselves off the calendar. You all do not have a September calendar, which is when we had our award ceremony. I know we met before that. I just want to thank everybody that helped, and I believe everybody that's here helped that day. Thank you all. It was amazing. Everybody loved it. We got really good feedback. People really did feel appreciated, and that's exactly what I wanted, for people to feel appreciated for what they're doing. And I'm hoping next year we can add more awardees. I think there was one that would have been good for me to add, and I didn't, which was Partner of the Year, which, we do partner with several organizations, and it's good to acknowledge them as well, because every organization brings their own thing to the table. And next, we're going to talk about Lady of Our Water ribbon cutting. That one also, we had a great outcome. Thank y'all that showed up as well. They were telling me, like, wow, Ruby, like, we've never seen this many people for a ribbon cutting ceremony. Like, this went really good. So thank you all that showed up to that as well. It was great. We also attended the Environmental Summit on October 14th, and Armando is no longer with us, but he set up a booth that day. And they were informing me that Bianca got us a nice little area for that, so we were the first ones to be seen there. Then on the 21st, we have our MOA signing and press release with Tammy Yu, which is, it was more of an agreement of having people like Ashley on board. And that also was a good thing. It's now official. And then let's talk about Saturday's event. So Saturday's event, we had a total of 800 volunteers, which is really, really good. The only thing was that, so let me just do the totals and then I'll do a recap. So we had 800 volunteers. We ended up doing a total of 177 trees. Plus the mural, plus all the painting of the amenities. We got to do our litter survey, thanks Monica, and we did cleanup as well. For the cleanup, I believe we only picked up 1.4 tons, is what they told me, of trash. But with everything, it was a good event. So for this one, our Make a Difference, since Tammy, you always has it during our fall sweep. We considered it our fall sweep event. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to volunteers. So we had a total of 800 volunteers. Unfortunately, not all of our volunteers stayed to the end, so they didn't get to take the photo. But either way, I never like to pressure my volunteers to stay. If I'm just thankful you're able to come, show up, and help. And if you gotta go, hey, you gotta go. Completely understandable. Which we did have. We had the Cub Scouts that had to leave early, but they made themselves presentable there. I know that day in specific, the city had like 10 other events, like all around across town. So we were lucky to have that amount there that day. Yes, and we can go revisit that topic that was mentioned earlier. We kind of did have our hands tied when it came to the board advisory committee situation for parks, and Mr. Laurel being there. Under ordinance, there was nothing we could do. Yes, I did get the whole, like, I thought you weren't picking sides, and no, I wasn't picking sides. It's just weren't picking sides. But unfortunately, he is an advisory committee that represents that district. And he was there representing Dr. Mate, which unfortunately wasn't able to join us. And yes, I did get a lot of backslash for it, calls and everything, unfortunately. But he did one phrase, but I believe he caught himself and he stopped. But other than that, I think we shouldn't have any other issue. He didn't say anything else. He just said, make sure you vote.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments in regards to make a difference today?
Not to make a difference, just to that item, when Doc had already talked to him about being at that event, this was back before Doc actually hadn't decided whether he was going to run or not. And so Rick was not really a candidate at the time that we were handing out assignments for, what was coming up on the road. One. And two, Doc was very specific with me about, you're going to be representing the Parks Board. I don't want you to wear a campaign shirt. I don't want you to have any of your people anywhere close by. I don't want anybody going over there. Don't be distributing any kind of literature. When you're out talking to people, you're thanking them on my behalf. Don't go out there and say, hey, I'm Rick Laredo, I'm running for city council. Go out there and say, I'm here on Dr. Mate's behalf. Thank you so much for coming out. And even more so, we try to kind of keep him away from a lot of that. Actually, put him out to work. He was out pruning trees with us. So specifically to try to keep him from that. I think part of that issue came because there were some others who did show up with their campaign staff and were beginning to give out stuff over at the concentric site, and they were asked to respect the event, not to leave, but just to respect the event. And I think that's where some of that's coming from. And so we try to, again, I personally was with him majority of the time because I didn't want him to get himself into trouble. And secondly, Doc had asked me to do it, but I already told him I'm representing Keep Laredo Beautiful. I can't do that. I can do both. Do one or the other.
I think the main concern, Gene, was his Facebook post. That
Right.
was because it was done under his
campaign.
his
Sort of
candidate
personal.
post instead of his personal post, which that was where he crossed the line instead of that was the main thing that they came into being like, hey, Ruby.
And also,
this is what.
And also we spoke to management about it because Dr. Mate actually called me and also said the same thing. His park representative was going to be there that day. And that's something that I clarified with the doctor. The politics was not going to be allowed. I had a conversation with Ms. Cabello. And Ms. Cabello said, we have to keep it neutral. There's no politics. And if we need to get out of the park, we will. And that's where it came. Also, Keep Laredo Beautiful is a nonprofit, and that's all things that we need to separate.
And it is
All of
true,
those were
because
discussed.
the 501c3 becomes in grave danger whenever you have anybody there that is, making it political. And sadly, it's South Texas politics.
Yeah, it is.
And we know very well, it's like I told somebody, no, on voting day, where I grew up, you didn't mess around or you could get run over. It was very clear. You kept your mouth shut if you were not voting the way everybody else was voting. So, yeah.
That's what, again, we made sure that those things were communicated to him. And if you notice, there was none of his campaign staff was there. His wife was there early in the morning for a little bit, and then she left. But that was the only person who was anywhere close to it. All his campaign staff was working far away. We had him at Plantation and in Winfield, away from the event, because we didn't want any accusations that it was close by and he could have them pop over or something. The issue with his Facebook page and Facebook post, again, that's something that after the fact we said, hey, you should have done it from your personal and then later posted it on your campaign that you had been there. But not during. I think he had one live mention.
Yes,
And I didn't catch it.
yeah, that was brought to my attention as well. But you can't be around the whole park.
No, it's hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you have
Control
like 800 volunteers and it's political season and it's a contentious north side race with a lot of candidates. All the candidates wanted to be out there front and center, and it's hard for you
But none of
to
them came to plant
do that.
trees. I mean, that's that's the other side of it. None of them came to plant trees, and they were all asked to be there. Personally, I
Anybody could have volunteered.
I said, take off your camping hats and come out and plant trees with us.
Well, it's a good thing because we didn't have enough trees anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
You're bringing them on the trailhead.
We were done in
But that's a good
Yeah.
thing to have.
It's
That's
a
not a
money
bad
back.
thing to
It's a money
have.
back. And it's true, we planted tons of trees, and when you have 800 volunteers, I mean, you can have 800 trees, because you can have one person
We don't have
plant a
enough
tree.
water for 800 trees.
We don't have to put a sprinkler system, the water, not the sprinkler systems. And we, guys, I'm gonna just say one thing about the event, it was great, absolutely fantastic. But next time, let's get parks to remove the dead trees and we put a live tree there. Because, I mean, you know, planting a tree next to a dead tree, your only thought is, oh my God, I'm gonna kill it. I'm planting it so it can die. That is not what we want to happen. We need to remove the dead trees. Paula.
Well, we are gonna have a phase 2 in March in our Central Park, and that is part of our focus, removing dead trees and adding new trees as well. So be prepared for phase 2. I do wanna actually focus more on just tree planting, because I believe, from my end, I think it was a little bit too chaotic, because we just had so much going on. And I had to get a lot more staff in order to assist me, and it's just too much. I think if we focus on the tree planting, it'll be easier for us and better for us. So there is phase 2 is going to come, just so you all know, March 25th, I believe, is the dates.
If you're gonna have that many volunteers, though, I would suggest that you focus on the trees, but also give them the responsibility of cleaning the tree wells. All the tree wells are overgrown with grass, or they have other things.
Yeah, and just putting in tree wells, because if you clean the grass out, then you put the mulch, it looks so much nicer.
Right.
And then
And you're
two,
gonna increase survivability. I mean, basically, what you did, like, don't go out and plant 178 trees, which is a good time to do it in the fall, but do maintenance. Go out there and inventory, okay, well, you know, this tree's not getting adequate water. Go in there and probe, you know, and just see it and make a report on it. Break it down into sections, you know, the east side of, you know, North Central Park, the west side. And because Parks is overwhelmed. I mean, they're in there, they're just trying to maintain, and that's what you gotta be realistic, because it doesn't do you any good.
Some cleaning as well.
Yeah, if you're gonna
If you
have,
focus on that.
Well, we are, that's what I said, I want to focus more on the tree. I do have to say that they said wherever PLB planted trees, volunteers, that was a great job. We did a great job, because I know I trained our crew leaders and our crew supervisors to do the job right, and I would have to say, they were, because we had a meeting earlier, we had a wrap-up meeting, and they mentioned that that area where we planted our trees was perfect. We did have issues, and I think that's something that was brought up to me earlier, that what I should use is use my KLB board, my KLB staff to be the crew supervisors, and just leave the students as, you know, the volunteers. And I believe that's right, because we know more, we're paying attention. Those of you that went to the tree planting training, y'all were paying attention, and we went over to where Tommy was planting trees, and there was one area I was like, whoa, like there's no ring here, there's nothing, like what's going on, like this is not, you know, but it was in our area.
Wow.
So I think it's something that we should focus on for next time, and yeah.
break it up into teams and get your experienced people and break it up.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do, form teams.
I do want to say, when we go back, Gene, remember all those years ago, with the first time out there, when we were actually cleaning the trail, the drive into the park by the pool,
But
we need to, by the pool, by the San Miguel
when
Aquatic
you came
Center.
across around,
We need to put some nice trees in the center there, some nice oaks. I mean, anything with a really pretty canopy that lasts, 100 years. Because,
around the pool area? Or
no, in the median.
In the median.
the
Oh, where
center.
you walk in,
Where you
between the
drive
pool
in.
and the walkway
Yeah,
area?
between the pool and the walkway, there's the drive-in, and it's got that little median, and it only has the cenizos. And the cenizos are great, But, you know, they only bloom when it rains. And so what you really want is an attractive entrance. And maybe we could beautify that entrance to give it kind of like a shady lane look, because then when you see the trail, it's like, it goes perfectly, because the trail's great. That Felix Velasquez walkway, it's very pretty there. So adding those trees will give some canopy to the area that would look nice.
Okay, I'm trying to look at the entrance, just because I remember there was an issue with the width, the median.
Yes.
It's very narrow.
Yes.
And you won't be able to plant big trees, but if you plant a 2-inch tree there, in 10 years, it'll be 7 or 8 inches.
I believe there's an amount, certain amount that we just can't, and I think we
It's an
visited.
easement.
Yeah, we did
Within
the
the right of
whole,
way. Yeah.
we did the whole part. We know where we can put trees and where we're going to put trees for March. We already did it. It took us a couple hours, but we know what is our target areas already for March. And we went there with Parks and to get their approval with the forester, and what he suggests as well is what we're basing ourselves off for
Well,
March.
I'm gonna just say this, and not to be mean.
Don't be.
Basically, Parks doesn't understand aesthetics. There's maybe a few guys that do, but aesthetics are important, especially to an entrance, to a park of that magnitude.
I agree.
And I'm sorry, but the half-dead, I mean, there's only, 8 cenizos in the front, and then they're spaced, because there used to be trees there, because we planted trees there all those years ago. Whenever Chewy did another project there, he wanted trees there, so we planted trees there, and he's the one who put the cenizos in.
And it's sad, because that's where the park started,
Exactly,
you know.
that's exactly where
You're
the
going
park
back,
started.
that's where it started, that was phase one,
That was phase
right there.
one.
There was no pool or anything else.
No.
Is it like possible to like number the trees or anything like that for future reference to see where?
Talk about your GPS.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, we did one, we're thinking about doing a tree survey. We talked about it this morning.
You're good. Okay.
Yeah, we
Before
want to
you
do a
get
tree
started on
survey.
that, make sure that you get a hold of Adrian Goss.
Yes, we're doing it with Adrian Goss.
Because Adrian Goss has data already, because he did the first 2 tree plantings and did all the GPS on them, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
We
we're
did
using his website. That's where we're basing ourselves off of Adrian Goss.
Because,
Yeah, we're working with him.
So make-
yeah, it's whenever
Yeah.
John Jordan was forester.
Right, it was before Berman, it was John Jordan was there.
So way before Burma.
Who's the forester right now?
Victor Novato.
But does he have that title? Is that his official title, or is he just a parks guy?
No, that he was hired on as a parks guy, but they've made him in charge of the greenhouse and everything. He's in charge.
Technically, I see him as the forester.
Is
Now,
Burns still
whether
there?
his actual title is that, I couldn't tell.
Well, maybe that's something, because that
His
was.
shirt says forester. I mean,
I know.
his shirt's.
That was one of Berman's biggest complaints before he left the city. In his exit interview, said that I have so many other responsibilities other than the one I was hired for,
Right.
which is to be your forester. And I
Aww.
had to do all these other things. Well,
Is
because
he
it
still doing it?
involved everything from going out and painting and doing park work and
But we all do that.
true. But again, he was hired. He was hired to do one specific thing, and he couldn't do it. He never got a chance to be the forester, to develop the tree farm and do those things. That's what his complaint wasn't, that he had to do the extra work, but that he wasn't able to do the work he was hired for. And so he didn't do any grants, he didn't do any other stuff.
Did you read my exit interview?
I say nothing.
Exactly.
Say nothing.
I didn't give one, Gene. I did not.
You did not give one.
No.
All right, so back to the trees. Did you know that the vast majority of the trees, with the exception of the live oaks, the oaks that we planted, are trees that aren't supposed to change color that grow in this area? So the Chinese pistache, which is that real thin, small leaf that turns bright red, even the Moctezuma, what do we call them, cypress trees,
Cypress, the ball
and the cedar elms, the red oaks, all of those are supposed to change color. And if you go if we get a rain between now and Thanksgiving, that place is going to turn red. You'll start to see those colors. and that was the whole idea.
What happened to all the red buds, Gene?
The red buds on the red bud lane?
Well, and they took the sign
Yeah,
down.
they took the sign down. I don't know. Good question. There were 4 or 5 big tooth maples that were designed to be put in the park in specific areas where we tested the soil. Only one survived, and I don't know what happened to that tree afterwards. But again, for lack of water.
There's lack of water, and then there's also vandalism. They vandalize the trees, which,
Okay.
It's just a real old irrigation system, and they just continue to add to that very,
Yeah.
very old irrigation system. And one day, they're gonna have
We need
to put a
to-
big investment and start doing the
Well, at
new.
least I know the 20 acres, right, which is the old Senate tract. Judd designed that, and when they built it, they put in, there's a 4-inch water line in there, designed specifically for the irrigation system, so that it has plenty of volume. The areas that don't was the portions done by Dilworth that were donated as part of the land dedication, that just have a 1-inch line or 2-inch line at best. But the ones that Judd did, because Judd always overbuilds to some degree with designs, those things have 4-inch water lines. I mean, you could do some really great irrigation in that 20-acre span. Beyond that, I can't vouch for that.
yeah.
Hopefully the trees bring us more water. Any other questions in regards to Make a Difference Day? No? Also, we did reschedule our,
I just have one more question for you, Ruby. The trash survey that you all did,
the litter survey, yes.
yeah, the list survey, will we be posting that somewhere? Are we gonna be able to, how are we gonna use
I
that
can put it up
data?
here. Yes, I need to put it in our, the KTV litter base data. But I have Monica's litter survey right here. Do you all want me to go over it?
No,
Oh,
I'm just,
next time?
yeah, we can just
Okay.
post.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't opened it myself.
Yeah,
Presentation.
I think it goes
Yeah.
out on our social media and gets out on our website so that people can see that. And then
Definitely.
as we do these throughout the community, that we're starting to put together
And
kind of an
maybe
idea of
we can do
where people are littering and what they're littering.
Mhm.
That was a political question at one of the forums for LC about campus cleanliness. Because it happens everywhere,
No, it doesn't happen to them.
except at Disney.
Yeah, you know why, right?
Because they surveyed that, they studied that till it was absolute science. Every,
No. Walt Disney hated chewing gum. He does not sell chewing gum in his parks. If you're seeing chewing gum, they will stop you and ask you to spit it out. And they have trash cans every 10 feet.
They do. And recycling bins.
Yes.
30 feet, because the study said that people would go no more than 30 feet with a piece of trash in hand before they just drop it. And so they have trash cans at every 30
2
feet.
feet.
It's an amazing.
Go to San Agustin Plaza and just sit there and watch. You'll be shocked.
And I want to actually for inviting us for the Future of Texas. We had a table. Thank you all that joined us on that event as well. Now I'm going to go to our upcoming events. So we have
Trick or treat?
Trick or Treat, but we also have this one that I'm going to request. We were invited to this. We're going to have a booth. I want to know if there's anybody. It's from 2 to 8. If anybody's available to volunteer on Saturday, it's this Saturday. I need assistance. I need 2 people that are willing to help for this event. So you all can go ahead and contact me if you're available. Even if we can do 2 shifts. Hey, you know what? I can go from 2 to 4 and then 4 to 8. Like whatever you all can help me with would be great. I mentioned to them that I would be assisting as much as I could.
Where is this at?
It is, here, you can pass it down. Do you want to take a photo of it? And then we have on Monday, we have our trick or treat event. So I wanted it to be something small, but it's been shared so much. Like it's everywhere that we made it a little bit bigger. We're gonna have the health department, Las Promesas, a realty company, I don't know if Graciela.
We're gonna be there.
A booth, yeah,
Lula
and, yeah, Lula Road, Kilby and Environmental will have booths handing out candy that day. I was just like, oh, just a little, like, hey, you can stop by and grab candy. No, now we're gonna have the health department
No,
giving out
it's
COVID,
Anything where there's freebies
Yeah,
are due
so-
to a massive event.
COVID shots, I think, or something
Just
like
free
that.
COVID shots?
I mean, not COVID shots, COVID kits, right? Something like that, COVID test. I was like, well, I guess, I mean, go ahead and set up, why not? But it's good so people can stop by, get familiar, and talk to us. We'll have an informational booth, so we'll consider it an outreach event. And if that's gonna set us up for November for another event we have.
Are you gonna hand out like save the dates at that event for the November event?
Yes, we'll have our, since we'll have an informational booth, we'll have all of our upcoming events so they can, we'll have a flyer. Same thing for the West Fest. When we have our informational booths, we have, anything that we have upcoming and who KLB is, so, yes, we'll have that for Trick or Treat and West Fest.
Does the city still have a calendar that they have on the website where it has all the events?
Yes, it's on there and they share, they email it to everybody too. For the trick or treat event, I believed I had already spoken to some of y'all that will be helping me. We have Graciela, Javier, Diane, Christina, Lynn, Monica, right? I think that's all I need. So thank you all. We also had we had a trick or treat event with all my peers, which unfortunately I am not gonna be able to attend anymore. They scheduled me a meeting downtown to see what we're gonna do with art. I know right now art is, I think it's with the library, but they might give it to KLB. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Who will foresee that?
Are they gonna give you money with it?
I don't
A person?
A
A
person?
staffer? I think that's the request that should be made.
After that, we have our Eco Fair event with solid waste and environmental.
And this one is gonna be great.
It is gonna be a solid waste, so we call
solid
it.
waste?
Yeah, as solid waste. We call it Eco Fair because it's supposed to be Recycles Day. But we're not just gonna be focused on recycling, we're gonna be also focusing on, how, was it, oh yeah. No, they're actually gonna be giving them a tour of the recycling center. And, we're gonna have an art show. I think it's pretty much what, Sylvia does every year for Recycles Day. The only thing is that this time we asked if they could include us and we could put in our part for it. And one of KLB's tasks was to get T-shirts for everybody because they provide all the students and teachers with a T-shirt. So,
Say that 10 times fast.
yeah. So we have, that's what I'm trying to rush myself into because now I need sponsors for this Eco Fair T-shirt. I already got all the quotes and I'm looking at about $3,000 for T-shirts. So this would be considered our Recycle State event. And then if anybody is available, since I'll be helping Sylvia, because they also have a recycling project competition, I'll be helping Sylvia with that. So we need judges, and I need somebody for our informational booth. So once again, if you're available that day and that time, let me know. The Eco Fair is from 10 to 1:30, November 17th. If you're available, let me know.
So it's just for the schools?
It's just for the schools, it's not open to the public. Yes, and I think Sylvia mentioned, she usually does 500 students. This time, we're only going with 300 students. because it's their first time in 2 years since they've had a Recycle Stay event, or Eco Fair now, because we're included as well. We're really working as a team, all of us. Because technically we're one now. We share the same boss. And then now we have our November 19th event with Ruth B. Cow, and that is our Arbor Day event. For that one, I am unable to use city staff. That means that's when you all come to play. Which is, I'm happy that Nick's here because he can help us with the host.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's good with wolves.
Yeah. We are getting some donations of plants and trees for that specific event. And I know Ruth B. Cal is also receiving donations from their board members for this event as well. So we'll be working it. And this event is actually gonna be hosted by Priscilla. This will be her event.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yes, our Young Texas Ambassador. And then next we have, this one's probably gonna be the most fun. We'll have a Kilby Open House Garden Party is what we're calling it. And I'll let Lynn and Javier take the floor on this one and what y'all plan.
Wine and spirits?
Go on,
No,
Javier.
yeah, so for the past few weeks, Lynn and I, Diane, Ruby, we've been planning out a garden party that we want to have here in the facility, kind of as an opening and welcome to the community, let them know what we're all about, give them some information on our mission, the projects that we bring together. And on top of that, we're gonna have several informational booths, several like showcase booths, about 8 booths in total, correct? I don't know how many people we're gonna need for that. I think we kind of have the people that are gonna be
Yes.
working the informational
Yeah,
booths.
those informational booths and the
Yeah,
demonstrations.
and the demonstration. I saw that Fed already has some of the models, correct? So what are the models that we're gonna be having?
It'll be the watershed model and then the wind turbine model. And,
Okay.
and I'm gonna see if Ivan can find us a solar panel model too.
Okay.
Because that would be good too.
So we estimated about 100 people attending this event, more or less, because we want to have some finger foods, some drinks for the community. We're gonna have it open here at the front garden. The group and I, we've been already kind of like working it out, cleaning up the location. And you're not gonna use the parking lot, correct? It's just gonna be here outside in the
That's right.
community
Yes,
garden.
just the.
Yeah, we
Okay.
decided to
Just it.
put that tent up.
Yeah, and then Parks already approved that for you,
Yeah,
just so you know. And I think this event is gonna be great, so everybody can get to know who Kilby is and what Kilby does, because Kilby does focus on everything y'all just mentioned. We do everything. We don't just do the little stuff. We shall be focusing on everything.
It's a comprehensive program.
Yes.
We want to have some arts and crafts that day, some recycling information, general information on like the recyclables that, to kind of, give them, not that exposure, but kind of teach the community what should be recycled. We're gonna have, what else aside from
We're
the
gonna do
models?
composting, we're
The
gonna do
composting.
propagation. We're gonna show people how to propagate plants from their plants that they already have.
Do
Or
succulents, you should do some
we're doing,
succulents.
yeah, definitely. Well, that whole wall out there is
Succulents.
free for all.
No, I'll tell you. No, all joking aside, all kidding aside, that garden, and I've seen it longer than anybody on this table,
Excuse me?
included. No, yeah, I've been here longer than you have, sweetheart, I hate to say
That
it.
garden wasn't there till I
Right, but
arrived.
I'm just saying, it's looking the best that it's ever had.
It is.
Have you ever seen it look that good?
Huh?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Yes, I have. I fed this whole office
I
with
know,
that
but,
garden.
I mean,
But
the
the
way they
prettiness,
cleaned it
it's
up,
the
right, the aesthetics is, it's
It
gone,
goes back to the aesthetics.
you know.
Thank you, yes, and that was all thanks to our wonderful volunteers and the guys from the department were like, you're crazy, you're not gonna be able to do it. And I did it, and I'm so happy because I was able to clear out that space. Since Lynn had left, it hadn't been, it hadn't been touched at all. And I came in and I said, hey, you know what, that garden's my,
But
Your
the
sanity.
showcase, I mean,
Your
that's
sanity.
exactly, you know,
Yeah.
that's, that first appearance.
At that time, I was still program coordinator, so as program coordinator, my thing is also like, I wanted everything to look good, represented the department. So, and that's the first thing you see when you come in. So, thanks, Nick, I
You're
appreciate it.
Okay.
Let me go back real quick, to the Arbor Day. I also need somebody to help me, delivering trees wherever has a truck, because as I mentioned, I won't be able to use city staff, so I'm really gonna depend on you all for it,
Tell me again why we can't use city staff?
because it is a private property.
It's a private property.
It's a private nonprofit,
Right.
Yes.
so it's,
Private nonprofit.
Yeah, so it's gonna
Not
be
like
all
a
us.
street that needs to be paved. Got it.
Yeah. So,
City
That's
employees
fine.
could volunteer, take the day off and go help us volunteer.
yeah.
They go to that.
That's what you're thinking.
On a Saturday?
So, so I'm just gonna recap some good stuff that happened to us during this month. Coca-Cola gave us a good amount of donation. They gave us 5 pallets of drinks for our past event that we still have a lot in the office. We got Gatorade, two different flavors of Gatorade, and like zero Gatorade or something, I think it was, water, the body armor that some of y'all have on the table right now. So we're really grateful for them for providing us that enormous donation. It was a lot more than I expected when they said, hey, we're gonna donate. I was like, oh, okay, great, thanks. I didn't expect what they brought us because it was plenty. We also got the Apache tree grant that I mentioned to y'all that I had applied for. And we got 50 trees out of that one mixed, which is what we'll be using for Arbor Day, and some we already
Those
used.
have already come in, or those are
Yes,
still coming?
they're already at,
At the tree farm.
yes, sir.
Cool, and that's the one plaque that I saw on one of the posts, right, from Apache?
Yes.
Very cool.
Apache. And then, I have one more good news, but we can't say it, so I'll email y'all later about that. There's the North Central Park mural. I don't know if some of y'all
I
saw
saw
it
the
that
back
day.
end of it. Mhm.
It's looking good. It's looking good. He's almost done. Of course, I wanted to introduce Nick. I'm so happy he's on board. And then we have Priscilla Villarreal as our Young Texas Ambassador, which she got our Volunteer of the Year. We are missing one more. I reached out to her, but we haven't heard from her. So we're supposed to have 2 with us.
Okay.
But we haven't heard from her yet. And then, I'm gonna just briefly mention this. There's a council member that wants a cleanup in their district.
But,
We are technically, and I'm gonna do a whole big old calendar map, a whole big calendar for y'all next time. We are technically booked till May, guys. I have already told them that I'm booked, so I asked John as my advocate to go and speak to the council member if they can wait, because we've already done a lot of projects in their district. Well, me specifically, since I've been here, we've done several projects already in this council member's district. And I just, at this point, we can't, we're booked.
what would you
It's
like me
either-
to tell her?
It's either we do her cleanup, if we do decide to go ahead with this, we either do her cleanup December 3rd, or we do our tech stop cleanup. It's like, I can't, we need to focus also on our, we have this agreement with our adopted highway. We can't, like,
Yeah.
I can't break myself and, and it's, technically you already saw we have 3 events in November, and November, December, and January has holidays.
Yeah.
There's no way. And then the guys don't want to help on a weekend where there's a holiday coming up because they don't get paid that overtime.
But when they ask for assistance, are they asking for assistance in the sense of manpower or tools, or in what sense?
Everything. They
Everything.
want KLB to do it.
They want to.
We'll send them Big Lou or something. We'll sell them Big Lou.
Well,
We'll send 'em Big Lou.
I mean, Big Lou is doing his part. He's visiting every district, correct? But
Yes,
they want
yes.
they want a major scale one, and unfortunately, it
I don't know
it
if
can't
they do
happen.
that,
So, Gene, you're up soon,
Context.
and I know you know who I'm referring to.
Yeah,
He just trash picked up.
I'll take care of it. I
All
mean,
over.
I'll have that conversation with her, because I did tell her previously that if we're going to do something for her district, because she's already done so many of these cleanups, that we would prefer to do something more of an urban cleanup. Let's pick up a square, let's take, where the Plaza Theater is, the city owns most of that property now. Let's go out and do some planter boxes, bring all our pressure washers and do something like that, but let's do that closer towards WBCA, so when people can see a showcase, something like that, or do it in the spring, after
I
April.
was gonna say, February is bad because we're gonna have a float.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, there's just, you're,
Well, thanks,
February is
Dan, you just
horrible.
told everybody what we're gonna do.
I wanna do
There goes her
There
secret.
goes our secret.
Nobody told me. What did I say?
If you all agree, just because it is a lot of work,
It is a lot
we
of
do
work.
want to have a float, but this is all
It is,
how hands on
it's a
deck.
lot of work.
It's a all hands on
Yeah.
deck.
It is. Believe
So-
me when I say it's a lot.
We want, if we're gonna have this, because they asked me in the last one that just passed, or the one that's about to happen.
December.
December,
The
for
Christmas-
December,
Christmas
yeah, and they
party.
asked me and I said, you know what? I don't think we're gonna be able to do it, but hey, for the big one, definitely.
Right behind
And you
George
do-
and Martha, right?
Yeah,
It's right behind,
And
that's
and you
our
don't
goal.
just do one, you do two parades, because it's a youth parade that you have to light it up, and then you have to do one on Saturday, so then there's tweaking that has to happen. It's crazy.
So,
But it's
that's-
fun. But it is fun.
the goal was to focus on that later, because also in December, I'll be losing Ashley, so it'll just be me until
Ashley?
we get our new, I'm graduating already, can't work. So, I mean, we're hoping that.
There's
we
an
can bring
opening
her in.
here.
Yeah, we're hoping we can bring her in for a bit, and then until Tommy was able to get us more help. And I want to focus on our, what is it? Our report with our KTV report that's due in
March.
in March, and I want to make sure that it's good. And usually around that time we also have a lot of grants that pop up as well, and I want to do that, and I want to get us organized because I want to have a set calendar where we do the same thing every year. We don't have to be coming up with new stuff. Where whenever a new person comes in, they know what to base themselves off of. Then when I came in, it was different. I had to, and I still haven't been able to organize myself. And that's something I want to do during that time.
Okay,
So, yeah. Anyways, let's do our next.
next meeting, date and time for the next
Do you
meeting?
want to do it on a Tuesday though?
What works for everybody? I'm just trying to get a
Because of-
consensus.
Because of the logo is why I'm asking.
Yes, I mean, for me, it works better on a Tuesday for the logo. Now, worst case scenario, if he's just not available that day, then he'll send me everything and I'll do the presentation. Or I'll have one of the other staff members come in and do that, do the dog and pony show.
Let's see when we're good to go. Okay, so we have vacation at this time, right?
And also need
Holidays.
Lynn's input, because Lynn was chewing my ear off about something. And I said, Jose, Lynn Nava's going to be at their next meeting, she's gonna talk to you about it. And he had this look of fear, like
That's why he bowed out.
a kid that's.
Yeah, let me tell you, when he
Bungee
talks
jump.
to me, he's gonna think, oh my God, I have to go back and redo what I was thinking because I didn't know. Because see, you don't know until you do this. Is that true, Ruby? You hear about it, you see it, but until you actually get in there and do it, you don't get it.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we can do the week of November 7th or the week it would be.
Well, that Tuesday's not good.
That Tuesday's not good, 'cause that's
Election
actually,
days.
Yeah.
that's November the 8th.
Yes,
That's the
so
election.
In November 9th, no, because that's when he has class, correct?
Yeah, but if, I mean, let's just have it on the 9th.
We'll do it on the 9th.
I will get all his stuff, and if he can't make it, then I will get him to send everything to us, and we'll make the presentation.
Okay, yeah. And I want to get us back to the beginning of the month because oops.
Yeah.
5:30?
Yes, 5:30, Nick. I'm about to send it to all of y'all. At 5:30 again? Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thought you got married. I wanted to see you traveling. Well, you can tell that up front, you do full disclosure.
That's right. If you want marriage, find somebody else.
Except
else,
marriage
Brittany?
materials.
Before we go, Tony, is there anything going on in KTV, Texas that we should be aware of?
Having our strategic planning meeting in 2 weeks, so we'll
Very cool.
see what any opportunities to bring down to our area. I think the fall sweeps are underway, so. And keep track of the projects that are being
Need to
managed here so we can
submit.
collect the data and submit
Okay.
for awards.
Very cool. Okay, Brittany, so next meeting is November 8th. I'm sorry, November 9th. November 9th. So I can return to my regular scheduled programming. As a candidate, you can't do some of the things I want to do. I'm too busy.
You have them.
I'm too busy asking for money from somebody else. In items for next meeting, anything that you all want to add for next meeting that we want to discuss as action items?
I think next meeting we might have to discuss the standing of some of the members.
Yes, we are. Because there's some members that have been absent 3 times,
Right.
so we need to,
We'll make that decision.
yes, make that decision as soon as possible because
Okay, so, discussion with possible action on absentee, status for board members. ¿Qué más?
Did we decide, and I don't know if it's on the contract that I gave you all, are we doing fiscal year or are we doing yearly?
I think we're doing fiscal.
You're doing fiscal?
Yeah, I was also under the impression it's fiscal, simply because we operate under the city's auspices. And so
Okay.
they're on the fiscal
So then
October.
technically,
October
nobody
too.
is, what's it called?
Like evaluated? Is that what we're doing?
No,
nobody's been
evaluated.
absent 3 times.
Nobody's
Oh,
been
okay.
absent 3 times. I thought we were doing January to December. I think that would be better for us at this moment.
Well, because councils change, mayors change in this timeframe.
I think
here,
maybe
so-
just, I think we should follow the fiscal calendar as like the city,
Uh-huh.
but maybe in terms of presence at meetings, you can do a January to December.
That works for me if you all want to do that.
I mean,
That's
just
Let's bring
that.
back. Let's bring that back as an action item so the board can take action and make that decision.
Okay.
And we might need to put that into our bylaws, that we will
Yes.
follow for planning purposes, we follow a fiscal calendar year.
Yes.
Fiscal year, but for absenteeism or for
Attendance.
attendance, we follow a calendar year. And membership also,
Yes,
because that's also based on time on board.
that's right.
Mr. Navarro mentioned something to me that outside of these 50 trees, his tree farm is empty.
I just gave him some.
Yeah, well, the
Yeah,
patchy
that's what the
trees.
Apache trees I'm saying, outside of the 50
they're
that we
being
just came in. And I wanted to ask about the plaques that we got.
Yes, I didn't give you all that. So look, this is our sponsors for Make a Difference Day. I was missing something. And this is our tree pot.
The
That's
people
what
that
we
bought a
got.
tree plaque or they don't?
Correct.
Okay, so as an action item for the next meeting, let's talk about a program for people to donate a tree and a plaque, and get a plaque that the city can put out at a different park or different location, and create a donation program for that. So that we can get those trees into the tree farm and have an inventory.
Yeah.
Especially right now that a lot of council members are asking for this type of stuff.
Gene, maybe what we should do as part of the tree donation thing, and also in respect to public art, we take at each of the trailheads and we create a tree on the wall, and each of the branches has leaves of the people who have donated trees.
That's a great idea.
Well, bring it back, let's bring that as an action item, let's discuss that
That's why you're in the planning committee then.
right.
Or you can do
I keep telling her, you don't want me to start, because the brains never
because
stop.
we
It's
wanna
gonna be
have-
horrible.
We want to have the ability to, I think, to add it to the new website. And so
As a
when somebody
program.
comes in there, as a program, they can, rather than them buying a physical tree and bringing it to us, they can donate a certain amount of money for a plaque and a tree, and we use that money to acquire the trees, and we acquire the trees that, we give them a list of trees that they can choose from. So we're not lining up these weird trees that we can't grow, or they're not native to this area.
Right.
And we can control that and then begin to promote it as a program that we have year-round. And
I think we should bring parks in too, so that we can get their
and
approval
get
as well.
get their input on it.
Yeah.
You know, Lynn, another thing about the names, you could do like in some of these parks, the way they did it at the library. You know,
Yeah, the bricks.
pavers with
It's
names,
brick
you do the
pavers.
entrances with it,
Yes.
okay, along with the
And that's
tree, you
real
do that,
good.
and then you do, that's huge, and it's permanent.
Yeah.
The plaques are not,
No, the tree, if you put it on the wall. like
no, I know,
that-
yeah, but maybe do both, you
Yeah,
know, you can do some,
Right,
right,
right.
but that sells.
At the dog park, they should have the
She said
tables.
there's some.
Oh, yeah, and again, let's bring that up for the next meeting, because
So the next, I didn't even know
we're
that that
past
was
my
part of it.
90-minute rule.
Yeah.
90 minutes is gonna roll
Yeah.
back.
Yes, I showed you all the, oh, you weren't here or.
No, I wasn't, so I
You weren't
didn't
here for
know.
that
Right now,
meeting.
we could have donated that.
Yes.
So-
No worries, there'll be plenty of
I
things
know
to
that.
donate.
Hey, we have our t-shirt, our eco-fair t-shirt, I still need 13 more spots to fill up, so many of you all can pull out your checkbooks.
We'll make sure, we're gonna make that a prominent thing on the website. Everybody can donate.
And everybody and anybody, any amount is acceptable, don't worry about it.
We'll take your money one way or the other. Okay, so we have no other items. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Second, Monica. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. All opposed?